hi, welcome to this side of my office. In my tips for new vegans video last month, I know that was pretty much exclusively about food, but I did mention briefly in that video that veganism is not just about food, it is about all the choices in your life that uses animals as products. And so I thought handbags would be a good little introduction to some of the other ways in which I have changed my lifestyle when I went vegan. Handbags are one of those things where the entire industry basically revolves around this idea that leather equals quality, and anything that is not animal-based leather is seen or perceived as less than, especially when you get into some of the higher end designer brands where they use a lot of different animal products, not just cow's leather, but they will sometimes even use calf leather, goat skin, pig skin, etc. I see a lot of arguments online from non-vegans who talk about how vegan alternatives to leather are blanket statement, all plastics and terrible for the environment and will sit in landfills forever, blah, blah, blah. And yes, there are vegan alternatives to leather that are that bad for the environment, but it is not really fair, in my opinion, to just make a blanket statement that anything that is not leather is worse for the environment than leather, because leather uses a lot of land and water resources in order to be produced, and there is a lot of waste and byproduct that is very damaging to the environment. There are a ton of environmentally friendly and cruelty-free high-quality bags out there from many different brands. I am only going to be covering a subset of this area of fashion, but I do want to get more into it in the future, and I do have a list of brands that I do want to talk about at the end that I have not purchased from yet, but I'm interested in because there's some cool stuff happening in the animal product alternative world. The first brand I want to talk about is Pixie Mood. This is a brand that I was introduced to through Cosbox, which is now called All True, so I'll be saying All True now, but I know my videos in the past have said Cosbox because that was what they were called. Anyway. Pixie Mood uses all vegan materials in all of their products, and they have biodegradable packaging, and they use a solvent-free vegan leather that is not made from PVC, and PVC is probably like one of the most damaging plastics. So when people are complaining about vegan alternatives, they're usually talking about PVC. So they have made their own vegan leather. I couldn't quite find like all the materials they use in that. All of the linings in their bags are made from recycled water bottles, and from sometime last year, it says on their website that they started using recycled water bottles for some of their vegan leathers as well. So it looks like they are moving into using more and more recycled materials in their handbags. I have two of their handbags. This first one is a small crossbody bag, and this came in one of my monthly All True boxes. This bag was my daily driver for a while, especially during 2020. However, I accidentally had this little metal hook attachment stuck on the edge of the leather. I don't know if I can like show this on camera very well, but accidentally nibbed that a little bit. Other than that, this bag looks pretty much brand new and it feels great. It's very durable and it's much more water resistant to me than a lot of leather bags. The second bag that I got from them is this large tote bag. I got this as an add-on to one of my All True boxes. They have a sort of marketplace thing where you can buy additional items that aren't coming in the boxes. So I thought this bag was super cute, and the idea of this bag was that I would use it as my work bag, but then it came in the mail like right before my office closed down in March 2020, so have not been able to use it as a daily commute bag yet, but I was able to use this during a in-person work event back in October. So I love how spacious it is. It fits my laptop. It has a bunch of pockets, so I was able to like really organize things well. So I'm very impressed with this bag so far, and I know it's going to be super useful if and when I start going to the office again or traveling again or just doing anything outside my house. There are also two straps for this bag. So the one that's already on the bag is this nylon strap, and I did that because I was going to be driving around with this bag and carrying it around for work. But it also comes with a strap that matches the material of the bag. So you can kind of mix and match depending on what your use is. This brand is probably going to be at the lowest price point of the brands I'm talking about today, but it's still not cheap. So these bags are about $60 to $150 per item, depending on what size bag you're getting. But if you're willing to spend that much, this can be a really great option if you're just trying to start stepping into relying less on animal products. Sometimes too, you can also find these bags for like half off on their website at the end of a season because they're trying to clear out some of their inventory. So you can get a very nice quality bag, and I do want to say these are very well priced for the quality, but you can get a bag for like $35, $40 if you wait till the end of the season and pick one of the colors that they are trying to rotate out. So you can actually get a bag for cheaper if you want. While I'm talking about brands I was introduced to through Alltrue, I just wanted to toss in this one. So this is a tote bag from, I think it's Henny and Lev. Yes, Henny and Lev. And I don't know much about this brand. It does seem like they are also on the side of using a solvent-free polyurethane material instead of PVC, which is good, but I couldn't find a ton about what they do on their website. But I did want to point out this bag because it is like a nice, simple, like clean looking tote bag, but the inside has a bit of like a rougher material, so it feels pretty durable. And it also has one of those big straps as well. So I do like this one. I feel like everyone kind of needs one of those like black hole bags. That's like a big giant tote bag you just dump stuff into. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So while I haven't gotten a ton of use out of this bag yet, I have used it a handful of times when I'm out running errands or I just need like a little bit more space when I'm going out. And so I have really loved this bag, and it's just like a nice simple tote bag. This next brand might be one that you have heard of before. It's called Matt and Nat. They sell at stores like Nordstrom and I think some other department stores, so I feel like people have kind of seen them around a little bit more when it comes to vegan brands. These ones are a bit higher priced than Pixie Mood, but you can find them at places like Nordstrom Rack or like any of those other sort of like offshoot discounted versions of those bigger retailers that have them. And they also do end of season sales on their website. So again, if you want to spend about $100 on a bag, they're great, but you can wait and find some good ones on sale. And honestly, I think all three of these pieces I have from them, I bought from Nordstrom Rack at a very deep discount. Matt and Nat also uses recycled materials. So on their website, it says that PU or polyurethane is a biodegradable material, and they have been diverting away from using PVC. A couple years ago, they launched a collection that used polyvinyl butyrol. Probably not pronouncing that correctly, but that is made 100% recycled windshield glass resin. So they have been kind of experimenting, it seems, with like newer ways of making their synthetic leather. And then more recently, they did another collection that was all PVB instead of PVC. So they are starting to make their bags out of fully recycled materials, with the exception of the hardware, of course, because that's like totally different material. They also use recycled water bottles for their linings, and they say that each bag has about 21 recycled water bottles in it, which is pretty cool. I like they actually give a number. Their website also mentioned that they're testing fruit skin fibers, which is super exciting, and I want to talk more about that a little bit towards the end of the video. But I love that they're testing out new materials and going for even more plant-based materials rather than synthetic materials. And they said they are working hard to become fully sustainable by 2023. I'm not entirely sure what fully sustainable entails, but it's nice that they have clear, transparent goals on their website. Okay, so on to the things I have from them. I have a wallet from them. I wanted just like a really big wallet because I was using a little card holder before that was completely falling apart. I use this wallet pretty much every day, and it's showing absolutely no signs of wear whatsoever. And I like this wallet because it has one pocket that is like a little open pocket for money and things that might fall. And then they have a second pocket that fully opens. Sorry, I'm trying not to show you all my addresses and things, but they have a second pocket that like fully opens like that. I don't have it right here, but I also got a little like card holder from them just to replace the one that I use to death. And so whenever I'm using a smaller purse, like a really tiny bag, I take some of the things out of here, put it in the tiny little card holder and use that instead. So I really like the card holder a lot as well, but it is a little bit tight. Like I think it just needs a little bit of time with use just to kind of loosen up some of those pockets. This gray bag is currently my go-to bag. I am not really going out for extended periods of time, so I don't need like a big purse with me most of the time, but this is a great size and it's very deep and open, so it actually holds quite a bit. Like this wallet has so much extra room when it's in this purse. What's interesting about the material on this bag too is that it like has a little bit more of like a grainy look, like more similar to animal leather than the Pixie Mood bags do. So it's just like a slightly different look, and it wasn't something that I could really see on the photos when I was buying these online, but it just gives like a different look and texture to this bag. I also got this nude bag. It's beautiful. I just haven't really had a chance to use it yet because I'm not really going out a lot right now. Was not expecting Omicron. Anywho, this bag is a little bit bigger than the one I just showed you, so it has even more space. So I think if you're going out for like a whole day, you could probably fit most of what you need in this purse without it being like a giant tote bag. And it does also have a strap that you can use to go crossbody if you want. The sort of grainy leather texture is even more prominent on this color, I think. I think just because it's a little bit lighter, you can just like see more of the texture when you're just holding it and looking at it. But again, it's just something to consider with this brand, that they really go for like a more leathery look. Okay, now we are stepping into the more luxury, high-end, high price tag bags. I felt like this would be good to show because you can really get a range of different styles and materials and prices when you are going away from leather. It's just a little bit harder to find. I want to talk about Stella McCartney first because I feel like a lot of people know about Stella McCartney. And if you didn't know, all of her brand is vegetarian. So I think some items still use wool and or silk, so I avoid those, but all of the bags and everything and shoes don't use leather. So I got my first Stella bag for half off actually at a Bloomingdale's. They just like happened to have a few items that they were, I guess, trying to get rid of. And so this was the first one I got, and I just loved the sort of floppy style. I love the chains, and this vegan leather is so soft. Like I love just like petting it every time I'm wearing it. This is, I think, the biggest Stella bag that I own, and it's not huge. I don't really wear a lot of huge purses because I'm not usually like going out for a whole freaking day needing it. So I mostly have bags that are this size and smaller. So this is the biggest one I have. So thankfully this is the one that I got half off. I also just thought I needed a little brown because, as you've seen in this video so far, minus the big brown tote bag, pretty much all my bags are gray, black, or nude, like some sort of like beige bag. So anyway, I really like the sort of rich medium brown, and I think the color too is like so bright and beautiful and interesting. These bags come in all sorts of colors. Like, she's got some crazy colors there, and I think they're all really fun, but I stuck to pretty straightforward neutrally colors for now because I only have a few of these. They're very expensive, but someday, if and when I have more money to spend, I might venture into some of the cool ones, but we'll see. This little black one is probably my most used Stella bag just because like black is going to go with everything. I love the detail on this where it's probably hard to tell from here, so I'll show some close-ups, but there is a bit of the chain that goes like detached from the bag. So I love that detail on it. I thought that was really pretty. This black also has a really nice sheen to it. So like from far away, it just looks like a little bit of a sheen, and then close up you can see a lot more texture kind of coming through. So again, like while this bag is also super soft, it is like a little bit more textured than the brown one. There's also a crossbody strap in this one. I store all of these with all the chains like tucked into the bag because otherwise it would be just like a complete nightmare mess. So I use the strap like 90% of the time I carry this bag, although I have worn it as a clutch before and it does look pretty cute there, but I think the chain is really pretty, so I usually just use it. My next Stella bag is probably my most fun one. It is this metallic charcoal colored bag. And so this is the first small crossbody I got. So I got this one a few months after I got the brown bag. So it's just like a simple folded over look. And again, I tuck the chain in while I'm storing it. So hold on. So once again, I mostly use this as a crossbody, although this one I'm more likely to use as a clutch just because it's so shiny. Like I think it looks like very nice as an evening clutch style bag, but the crossbody chain is also super nice. I've used this bag probably dozens of times and it has held up really well and it just looks nice with pretty much everything. Oh, the one thing about the more sort of textured metallic materials though, like this one and the black one, is that my dog's hair does get stuck to them quite a bit. So if you have any pets, you'll want to make sure to keep them in their dust bags and out of reach of your pets. And then after you wear them, like sometimes the hair comes off my clothes onto the bag. So I just like to give it like a quick little once over before I put it back in storage. Okay, my last Stella bag is this tiny little guy. So I got this when I went to Las Vegas in the very beginning of 2020. So haha, funny me thinking I was gonna be going places. But I just fell in love with this cute little guy. It is structured, so this one does have a bit more of a firm feeling to it. And it does fit a phone, which was my concern because it is quite small. In addition to the pink linings on these bags, there is also a small pocket. It's probably hard to see, but there's a small pocket in there for cards or anything like that, and I do tend to use that, especially with this bag that's so small. I can't fit a wallet in here. Probably like a small bifold wallet probably could fit, but usually I just take out the cards I need and just stick them in the pocket so that I can use the rest of the space for my phone tissues, lipstick, anything else I need to bring with me. So I thought it was really cool that this bag has a black chain and it has the sort of bordered black chain around the front. So I love that that would make it unique compared to my other bags. And the black material it still has that bit of sheen that the other black one does. I think it might be the same material, but this one does appear to be slightly blacker than the other black bag. Another fun detail with this bag is that this chain does remove and it comes with a little belt attachment. So this actually is also a belt bag. I haven't used it as such yet because I don't think I'm bold enough to bring the fanny pack back. But I do like the option of being able to wear this multiple ways. But I just love this black chain too much. So I just keep this one on basically all the time. So I've saved my absolute favorite vegan handbag purchase for last, and this one gives me heart palpitations, but this one's a bit of a struggle to find. So this baby is my little gem. This is the Givenchy Antigona bag, but instead of being made from leather, it is what they call rubber effect. They released this rubber effect bag in a couple different sizes back in, I think, 2015, and they haven't released any bags in this since, which is a crime because I love that the rubber gives it this like beautiful matte effect that you just can't get with any other material. I just think this bag is so beautiful. So back when I discovered this bag existed, I don't know where I was or how I stumbled across it, but I think I was just looking up like vegan handbag brands pretty early on in being vegan. And so some article linked to this, but obviously it was sold out because it was like, it had been at least a year or two since they had actually released this bag. So I did annoyingly reach out to Givenchy and I was like, hey friends, are you considering any more of those rubber effect bags? Because I'm dying. And they gave me a pretty wishy-washy answer of like, we'll forward this to our design team, which I'm sure they didn't. So anyway, I was searching for this bag for a long time, just like every few months. I would just sort of like do a quick little search, see if anything was up on any resale sites or eBay or anything like that. And there was one night in 2019, so this had already been 2 to 3 years of thinking about this bag. I just like had a whim one night where I was like, I'm gonna look it up again. And sure enough, this baby was on eBay. So the downsides of this bag are exactly the same as the leather version. This bag is quite heavy, and I think that's like a common complaint with this style handbag. Like this design with the little triangle at the top is like an iconic bag of theirs. And so I've seen a lot of the complaints online and it's all the same as this. The bag is very heavy and it's kind of a black hole. It doesn't open up very much, so it's kind of hard to rummage around in there. Luckily, the way that I sort my items in my life is I use a lot of little bags so I can change handbags easily. So I don't really have a huge problem with that, but it's a little annoying. Also, I've come to appreciate the large size because this is perfect for a day trip. Back in the summer of last year, my boyfriend and I went to Napa for a whole day, and I knew I was going to be gone all day. So I packed like all of my essentials. I packed a sweater. I packed a hat. I packed like basically a whole weekend in here, and everything fits because this bag is a black hole. So that was great. So anyway, story time over. But I love this bag. I think it's just so beautiful. I love how simple it is. I love how it feels. I think the rubber just feels so nice on your hands. I like that it has gold accents. I feel like so many bags lean towards silver or gray accents, but I love the gold hardware on this. I think it's so pretty. So I showed that bag not necessarily to say that that's something you should go find, because again, it's very hard to find that bag, but I just wanted to illustrate that there are luxury brands that at least have once or twice attempted to make non-leather bags. And I just feel like luxury brands they need to get on it because people clearly want it. Veganism has really increased in popularity and people are really starting to learn about the environmental impacts of animal products. So even people who aren't vegan probably would be interested in getting something that is leather free, especially if people care about fur, because people do care about fur and fur has been getting banned all over the place. And leather, I feel like people are starting to kind of realize some of the cruelty behind it and the environmental impact of using it. Now, I want to make it clear, whenever you're supporting a brand that isn't 100% vegan, you are subsidizing non-vegan things. And I know a lot of vegans take issue with that. And I do want to make it clear, I am so thankful for all of the other brands that I've talked about in this video that are 100% vegan and are very transparent about sustainability goals and all the materials they use and all the reasons why they do what they do. I really appreciate those independent brands, and it feels very good to support brands that are 100% in line with the values that I like to carry in my life. But there is something to be said about some of the more mainstream brands carrying on a little bit of this vegan vibe here and there. I think that first off, it normalizes having non-leather products or non-animal based products, and that's always good. But also I think it just like legitimizes other materials as potentially being a little bit better for the environment and for the animals, obviously. There are a few more brands that I want to talk about that I have not purchased from yet, but I am considering them in the future, especially once maybe I can go out more often, because right now I'm not really like taking any handbags anywhere. But that aside, there's a brand called JWPEI or JWPEI. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they are based in LA, and they use polyurethane canvases and recycled plastic water bottles, as we have seen throughout this video. And they have a lot of designs. Like, their website is full of products that have kind of like a range of different styles, which is really cool, because a lot of these brands that I've talked about, they are a little bit smaller. They're not going to have as many items to choose from, and I feel like that this brand has a lot more stuff going on. They're in a similar price range to Matt and Nat as well. So like the sub $100 for many items / like creeping up to $150 on some others. So again, like not cheap by any means, but definitely like semi-affordable. I also want to try Angela Roy. I've heard a lot about the brand, and they use cactus leather, and I'm so curious about cactus leather. I just think it's really cool and even more sustainable, because cactus can be very quick to grow, and so like totally makes sense to try to make leather and other materials out of it. They are a bit higher priced. I think most of their bags seem to be like over $200, so it's definitely something I'm going to be kind of thinking more about before I make any decisions. But cactus leather, I'm just so curious. The other brand I want to try is Samara. They use apple leather, so once again my brain is like, wow, that's so cool. I need to try that. They're in like the $150 to $250 range, I think. So like, yeah, again, getting kind of up there. Something I'll need to think a little bit more about if I'm making that decision, but I just love that people are being innovative with the materials they're using. Like, polyurethane is fine and it's better than PVC, but if we can move more towards different plant-based leathers, that is pretty outstanding. Okay, so just to summarize a few thoughts here. I hope that this video shows you a few new brands in the non-animal space that you're curious about. I just wanted to kind of dispel this idea that vegan fashion is hand in hand with plastics and damaging to the environment, because yes, that can be true, but it is not always true. And there are a lot of brands like the ones I've talked about today that are using really innovative materials that are trying to reduce their carbon footprint and water usage and land usage and all those things that animal skins do use. So I've always found it really frustrating that people act like leather is like the best option, because while it might fare better in a landfill than a lot of these other materials, it takes a lot of land and water to make those materials, and cruelty. But that aside, if we're just talking about the environment, you are using a lot more land, water, space, money, travel time, etc. to produce leather. There are also a lot of like runoff chemicals from leather that are really bad for the environment and leach into the ground. So there's a lot going on with that I don't think it's fair to just make a blanket statement. But I do think it is important to keep an eye on plastic use and lean towards brands that are either using recycled plastic materials or going full on into plant-based materials. Okay, I have been babbling long enough. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to pop in the comments below, give me some more recommendations. Even if I am not using handbags a lot right now, I still like window shopping for them online. Thank you again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.